Welcome to Bitstorm, a comedy game design podcast by two guys who know nothing about comedy nor game design. I'm Ben Slinger, and with me, as always, is Trevor, the guy, Scott.
I'm the guy now.
I don't know.
I've always wanted to be the guy.
I think the nickname thing was something I was going to try to start doing, and then I just...
Yeah,
apparently my improv skills are rusty.
You froze. Yeah.
Anyway, you're the guy now. So, I think we're going to do something a little bit different that we haven't done in a little while.
Haven't done in a little while because I've actually spent some time while I was waiting for Ben and got one part of the Discord bot up and running. So we're going to do some What 3 Words.
That's it. Makes it a little bit easier for us, and you get something a bit different. So What 3 Words is a website, actually, where they have split the entire planet Earth up into 3 by 3 meter chunks, and they've given each of those chunks a few words. It's a very useful tool for people who need to be able to locate a specific point on Earth using words. It's a very useful tool for us because it means we just get to choose a point on the planet and use those 3 words that come with that point.
Yeah. What I find really quite funny about it is, the majority of the Earth is actually water. Mm-hmm. And, yeah, they've just split everything up into those 3-word chunks, including all the water. So, it's great.
They didn't discriminate.
So, one day, you never know, we may actually end up on the Lost Island.
And then you'll never hear from us again, but... Yeah, it's always a bit of fun to click through and see where the words we used happen to come from. So maybe we'll do that. But until then, hey Trevor, what 3 words?
Upfield, nightclub, sealer.
Okay, upfield,
yeah,
nightclub, sealer.
Yes.
Okay.
I saw nightclub and I'm like, I'm thinking this is a bougie kind of nightclub.
Yeah, nightclub is kind of fun. Although my mind went to a bit of like, how there's viscera cleanup detail? Mm. Mine went to like cleaning up after a big club night.
Funny you say that because I thought sealer is like everyone's in the nightclub and all this sort of stuff.
Oh.
And someone seals them all in as there's like some sort of outbreak or something like that.
That's dark.
And no, I'm not saying it's like a horror movie sort of thing. I'm just saying it's like it's quarantined.
I mean, just being okay, quarantined, right? I thought you meant like maliciously seals them in there and
in concrete, and dumped in the North Sea. Yeah,
the whole club.
The whole
just
club.
Pick up the building.
I know.
Okay, that's interesting. Like a kicking off point is that something happens in this nightclub. I mean, it could be a little bit of like The Mist where it's all set inside this one place and you've been sealed off and you don't know why.
Okay, it's a work Christmas party because we are getting close to Christmas. So, and I just went to a work Christmas party yesterday. So it's at a nightclub and the last few stragglers are there, maybe 8 to 10 people.
Okay.
And they go to get out and they see the plastic sheet out the front of the door, people in hazmat suits, and they tell everyone to get back inside.
Yeah, or I feel like at the start you can't. They've sealed it off so effectively, like it's soundproof.
Oh yeah.
They can't. So they're gesturing at you, and they maybe like write something on a piece of paper and put it up against the glass to say like "stay inside," just to really start invoking that fear of the unknown and what's happened here.
And the thing is, it's one of those things of you don't know enough, and there's been a bit of alcohol imbibed, like where their mind could go, and it becomes more of a psychological thing of. It's a story of these people, and they just let their minds run wild, and they start, one of them starts hyperventilating, and they start trying to work out how they're going to get out of this thing, rather than thinking rationally. Noises that they start hearing. One of them starts going pale and thinking that they're coming down with something, and just playing. I
kind of like the idea of bringing in some aspects of like an Obra Dinn, just because I feel like that works so well for this sort of figuring out relationships and who people are in a group setting like this. So maybe it's like you go up and you talk to someone and they essentially like start telling you a bit about what happened in that night. And that gives you like a flashback scene sort of thing that you can walk around in, hear snippets of conversation, start figuring out this map of relationships between the people in the room. And that's also going to give you information to sort of progress the story a bit, where it's like, oh, I can calm, like, you know, I can calm Justin down, who's hyperventilating in the corner, by
mentioning Deborah's name.
Yeah, like talking about a certain person or doing something, giving him a paper bag to blow in or whatever, because you hear something about you overhear that in one of the flashbacks. Yeah. But yeah, with this sort of menacing undertone of the whole time of are we all sick? You know, someone starts throwing up and you're like, do they just have alcohol poisoning, or are they, coming down with some deadly virus?
Or is it that whole thing where the mind can actually think that it's poisoned? So,
well, that's it. Yeah. Or is it just their psychosomatic? Yeah. And their body's rebelling against them? Yeah. And it's like the human body is so susceptible to like information that is out there. Like it can be tricked into thinking, oh, all these other people are throwing up, I need to throw up too, because I'm obviously also affected. So oh yeah, absolutely. But then I like that idea of like, oh well, maybe you have to go back into someone else's flashback and like count the number of drinks that person had, or in multiple flashbacks, can you figure out the different times they ordered drinks, and maybe you even find like, oh shit, that person actually slipped something in their drink, like they've been roofied, like no wonder they're sick.
This now opens up other possibilities of, and I think what's kind of cool is you play that one protagonist. I'm seeing this as, again, a first person thing. I don't know why, but because it's an upscale sort of nightclub, I'm seeing lots of neon. But I think like Unreal Engine, Lumen, and having those that global illumination would just really sell the story in this.
And then playing with different color grading, LUTs and stuff. Oh, so I know you're a fan
of the flashbacks, like
for the flashbacks and things.
And it's different people's flashbacks have different kind of like the after party where each person's flashback is sort of coloured by their personality, So, I fucking love that. Like you could just play it normally, but then you just colour it a little bit, and
I mean, it just gives you that ability to relate certain colours to certain people as well. Like a good art director, I'm sure, can really play with themes of colour and that sort of thing for the different characters. And, in a game like, in a story like this, you want strong characters who are going to be easily identifiable between them all and memorable. But yeah, uncovering those things, it's like, oh shit, the person who roofied them is the guy who has seemed really nice and helpful up until this point. Like you wouldn't think it was, problematic at all. And then that's going to move things forward, because then you can go and talk to him about it. You've unlocked new dialogue, which maybe leads to an alternate version of the flashback. Like you have unreliable narrator stuff in there.
Well, because the human mind, especially in trauma, is so unreliable that,
of course,
like,
and with alcohol involved, I like the idea of playing with the flashbacks from like the person who's just been drinking it up all night.
But what's even crazier is you can then have it as your character is going through these other people's flashbacks, but he's putting all the visuals to it. Like they're just explaining what it's like, and he's coming up with these other details. So yeah, he said that obviously he's heard a detail that this person has said and has thought, oh, that was someone actually roofing someone's drink, but it doesn't mean that it actually happened.
Well, and what could be interesting then is if you bring in some so-called objective truth of someone had their camera out at some point, and you get access to that footage, or you get access to the security cameras that are in there, and then you're comparing, your view of these flashbacks to what was captured on the camera.
And that will again colour the flashback when you go back through it. You may get a little bit of extra information in there that
actually, yeah, I like that idea of like, oh, now that I've seen this, if I go back through this flashback again, it's changed. But yeah, you could almost highlight those changes with it goes into that like security camera. You know,
they've got a security camera filter over this person
like
as they're walking.
Yeah, that like the other person hadn't noticed,
on the texture.
But yeah, that's only in this flashback because you know it was there because of the security camera. And actually, I wonder how that would work if you did that with a lot of different things, like even between two flashbacks. It's like, well, this person told you about these people because that's who they were paying attention to, but this other person in their flashback told you about these other things, and so now when you go into either of them. It's a combination of them, but you can identify which one they came from or you were told about from the color
grading of that one particular section of the room where the light is just showing differently down there. And it's like,
it's almost like you're filling out. Yeah, look, that's really cool actually now because that could be a good sort of progression indicator as well, or just like the first person's flashback you go in. It's an empty bar except for all the people that they care about or noticed.
And throughout
the rest of the bar,
it's just night, you've just got
you're filling it
nameless faces
but things are changing. I wonder how you deal with, because now I'm thinking of situations where people are telling you conflicting information. You go in there and they're like flickering. Like that action is flickering back and forth between both the colours and the different actions that were told to you.
I mean, during the conversation, it can flick between one flashback and colour and another one, and you can sort of see the CEO of the company is sort of looking all happy in one and then looking angry in this other one and then, you know, looking upset.
Actually, that's kind of fun that the flashbacks and any like security camera footage and whatever are almost these overlays of reality on it's almost your mind palace, right?
Yeah.
That you can flick between once you've heard them and toggle between them so you can really notice, like you can pause it.
I'm seeing a wipe sort of, you know, it sort of, you know, explodes from like your center of your vision. It's like, and
yeah.
It's like switching between different
I guess you
different realities.
I guess you need to make sure how if you want them to be able to toggle quickly to like notice changes, whether it's just then a quick crossfade between the two things, or if you do want to make, like, there may be a good gameplay reason to not make it easy to just, like, that may make it too easy because you can just see literally the exact things that are different. But yeah, some sort of wipe or fade or something between them to sort of not give them that exact comparison between the two things, but have to kind of think about it a bit. That's really fun.
After seeing what was possible with like Viewfinder, that game with the camera and all this sort of stuff, and you know, taking that Obra Dinn sort of feel, perspective is definitely something that I want to play with, and I like the idea of you can actually almost like a you know, Batman Arkham Asylum, where you can flick into the different vision
like detective
modes.
Mode, yeah.
Like you're literally walking around the room, and if you flick into the next mode, and it's like you see that flashback going on, and then you flick into the next one,
exactly.
and you see
That's
the next
kind of what I'm
flashback
thinking.
going.
Yeah.
But you're still walking around that space, and
yes.
So your mind palace is literally being filled in at all times. You can go back earlier in the night. You can sort of say where you want to continue this particular flashback from.
Yeah. I wonder if even like, because like we were saying that one flashback may just have this corner of the room in it and another might have this one, and there's going to be some overlap. Maybe it's almost like toggling them on and off as overlays, but they can overlap. So you can say, okay, put on 1 and 2 because that's this part of the room and that's this part of the room. And now you're comparing the things that were happening at the same time from these two flashbacks, and you notice like one person walk from one and into the other and they change because of what that person noticed about them.
Yeah.
You know, this woman's got the hots for this guy, so when he walks into her flashback, he suddenly gets like way
Suave
slicker and more suave. Yeah,
and
like
a sparkle in his eye. And
obviously that creates a lot of work on those
it's
sorts
all
of
art
details.
style, unfortunately, which we're not artists.
But we can imagine. And I mean, yeah, execution is everything, and we're not the executioners. So
No, we're the stormers. We storm the information.
Yeah.
And then we give it to the team that has been working diligently on 360 now. This is the 360th episode.
Oh yeah,
360 episodes.
Every single game we've talked about on this show is
they're working on
active
it
development
at the same time.
Yeah.
The problem is we keep on giving them extra things each week to do.
Well, the problem is it's actually only one team.
Yeah.
And they have to split their time between all 2,000 games or whatever we're probably up to. So
yeah.
Release maybe sometime.
Yeah, if ever we decide to stop, then they'll have time to catch up.
Oh, they'll catch up, and you'll get a deluge of games coming out over the next 10 years.
Oh, then again, I think about it, and we've done a few episodes in there that we didn't even come up with games. We cheated and we reviewed games, so
Oh yeah, but I think we did ask them to work on some like remasters of those. So
yeah.
Yeah, got the rights. And
yeah, whenever we could. Are we happy to leave this one where it is?
Yeah, I think so. I was going to suggest moving on. Okay. I think we didn't go deep into the whole contamination thing, but I think that's the background for it. And
it's set up a great feeling of what the game would actually be. And it's
we don't
a character
have to go
story.
through what the actual story would be. Yeah, exactly.
If we gave that away, you wouldn't want to play it because it's like, that's the boring stuff. Like, who cares why they're stuck there? It's like, what happened earlier in the night? Why is this person upset? That's what I'm interested in.
Oh yeah, absolutely. No, there's a lot of good stuff there.
Cool.
All right.
Well, Ben, what 3 words?
So, from somewhere in the South Pacific Ocean off the coast of New Zealand, my words are northbound, love-struck, plasterer.
Yeah. I love a love-struck plasterer. Mm-hmm. That's northbound. Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's kind of fun. So we're thinking
like Carlton, Preston. They're heading up that way to do some plastering on some old shitty Melbourne rental.
Ooh, shitty Melbourne rental. Okay, or do we make this a New Zealand based game?
Oh, why not?
Where
the
plasterers would be in real desperate supply over there because of all the earthquakes. Anytime there's a crack in the wall,
cracks. Yep.
And I think they're on a journey north. They're trying to get to the northernmost part of New Zealand.
Okay.
And they're just doing odd jobs along the way.
But
they're doing odd jobs along the way to be able to afford to get to the next town and go forward and eat food.
Are they trying to get up to Cape Ringa?
Exactly.
I don't know if it's a good place. It's just the northernmost point here.
The reason why they're trying to get there is because that is where they proposed to their fiance.
To their, yep.
And she's been gone overseas on a trip for a while.
Okay.
And he thought, I love that day, and I said that on our anniversary I'd go up there and I'd re-propose or do something like that. So there's a time limit in the game that you've got X amount of time to get up there. And his car breaks down and he doesn't have the money to get it, so he decides that he's going to try and hitchhike all the way up there, but to be able to afford it.
Well, no, I kind of hang on. I do like that idea, but instead of the hitchhiking, I like the idea of this as, and this may not appeal to you hugely. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. A little bit of a job management side of things with this undertone of this, the story as he's going from town to town doing plastering jobs, right, to pay his way to keep his truck running. Obviously, he's got to pay for materials to be able to do it, but like if you can be efficient, then you can save more materials and stuff, and you've got a certain amount of room in your ute basically for like leftover stuff that you can use in the next job, and then you can get a little bit of that kind of satisfying like house flipper, what's the fucking spray,
power wash simulator
sort of stuff in there where you knock, like someone needs a new piece of, plasterboard put in. You bring out the sledgehammer and you knock down the old one, you pull it out, and then you get to like nicely place in the new one and like put in your nails with your little nail gun, give it a paint or whatever and get some money from it. It's like, okay, I made enough. I can move on to the next town, you know?
So this is VR.
Yeah.
Like, I literally see using both hands to like put it up there and then
get the board up there, hold it up with one nail with the other so it doesn't slip. Yeah, totally. It's giving me a little bit of those games as well. There's been a couple of games like this where you have like a junker of a car and you're traveling across a European countryside, whatever. I can't remember what they're called. I think one's called Anyway, I don't remember. I played one of them a little, but not a ton.
Yeah. I know the exact thing, it's like my dream car or something like that.
Something like that. You get to like fix it up as you go along and see the sights. So that sort of thing, but with this purpose of, you're getting there to propose, whatever it is, renew your proposal or something. Or maybe it's even just that because she's overseas, you just want to connect with her and like take a photo of yourself there and send it to her or whatever it is. Like it's something to do with your fiance.
Yeah. And
meeting people along the way and telling them the story of like them and obviously the player at the same time, the story of like how you met and the history of it and revealing that as you go. But having this gameplay of doing some of the car fixing as well. Like you blow a tire, you have to pay for that now in this town before you continue on, and you can have a little activity to replace it and that sort of thing.
And this is where those job simulator feels of the VR really come into play, because that's always
it's just immersive. Then it gives you that real feeling of struggling to get by, but like getting that achievement of making enough to move on. And I'm really liking this. It's so far tonight we've got two really kind of cool, wholesome games, and this, dear listeners, is why I love playing some of our different games, because the what three words, it gives you three words that don't really mean anything together, but if you can lock them together like this, you can just get a different story of something. We never would have got to this game from a single noun each,
and neither that on the nightclub game. That's why, as much as we love our click pitch, moving away from that every now and again is not a bad thing.
Absolutely. All right, shall we?
Let's do another one.
Another one. What three words?
Yeah. Himself. Curling, convert.
Okay. So it's either hair or it's the ice sport.
The game curling, or
the game,
or curling ribbon.
Oh, okay, yeah. And then what
it is coming up on Christmas. It's like, do we bring back the old game that we've talked about before of the wrapping simulator?
I did see someone build a present wrapping machine out of Lego recently, which was very impressive. Cool. So you can do some sort of automation thing around present wrapping. Maybe building out Santa's workshop.
Yeah,
with automation stuff.
And himself is obviously Santa.
Yeah. And then what was your third word?
Sorry. Cantaslaws. That's what
Cantaslaws, of course, right.
Yeah. God, those few episodes in your office right there in person. We came up with some wacky shit. But yeah, that's himself. Like
That's himself.
Yeah.
Curling ribbon, and then what was the third word?
convert. So I think
Convert or invert?
convert.
Yeah, okay. I mean, that kind of makes sense of like, even just through the automation stuff, you're converting toys into presents.
Well, I'm thinking it's, gone are the days where he can make all the wooden toys and all this sort of stuff. Like, now the kids all want Xboxes and all this sort of stuff. So,
Yeah.
really,
Yeah. I like this as a...
it's almost
Yeah,
a conversion into an Amazon depot.
Yeah. I think this is how Santa's Workshop has had to scale. And I think you start off... Actually, I like the idea of you start off earlier in time, right, where you are just making the simple toys. And so you're setting up assembly lines of elves for the different types of toys. Wooden horses, baby dolls, fucking stick and hoop. It's a very simple one, that one.
But hard to wrap.
Hard to wrap, though. Yes, true.
Because if you wrap the wrapping paper around the hoop, then the kid knows what they're getting.
Yeah, you got to trick them.
This is stick shape. This is hoop shape. But then you open it up, and the hoop shape one is actually the stick, and the stick shape one is actually the hoop.
Yeah,
That's how you trick them.
We had to break it. It doesn't work anymore.
It doesn't work anymore. You got to. It's a do-it-yourself. Stick it back together.
Some assembly required. But yeah, as you get more and more complex, it's like, oh, now we're doing board games. And it's like, okay, tons of little pieces and stuff that need to be done. And
could you imagine like
simple electronics?
Could you imagine doing Monopoly where you got to put the 17 houses and 15 fucking hotels in and all that sort of stuff, and then it's getting faster and faster, and so like you start throwing fucking hotels and shit at it.
Yeah, I don't know if you go down to the level of like you're having to construct every single piece that's going into it, but I think you do end up having to build more complex assembly lines in some abstracted way for like, okay, here's our board game section. And it's like you've got an assembly line for the board and getting it printed on and like whatever. And then you've got an assembly line for all the pieces or something. And then, I don't know, a dice one or something. And that they all have to end up in the one box and then go through the wrapping station. And I think at the end, you've just got a giant void that is Santa's sack, his magical sack, and they're just all falling into it. And then, like, at the end of the year, it just, like, collapses in on itself and becomes his tiny sack, and he comes and picks it up over his shoulder and walks out with it.
Yep. And that's why I think, this is a different sort of automation game than what we've done in the past, because, it's sort of more personable to start off with, obviously.
And I think you bring in... Like, in the early days, you don't have any real problem with just getting the elves started, like, at the start of December. They get everything made by the end of the year. It's all good. You've got time to spare. They're all happy. Morale is high. But as things start getting more complicated...
is a lot less back then.
Well, that's it. Yes, you have to make more and more toys. It's basically capitalism in a nutshell, because you're just having to continuously grow to keep up with the population and the complexity of what everybody wants. That by the end, it's an all year round thing. You have to have warehouses that are storing it up until the time that it can go into the sack. Like, you can't just keep filling the sack all year. Like, I don't know, for whatever reason.
Well, it turns out that you're the only place actually making the PS5s. So therefore,
you're actually also shipping them out.
You're shipping Amazon. Them out to like Amazon, because they can't get any stock.
Well, actually, I was almost thinking it's the opposite of that. In that it's too complex for your elves to make. You have to buy them. Like, you are just a customer of Amazon or of someone or of Sony or whatever. You have to get the shipments in on time, store them somewhere, and then check them off against the list,
It just literally becomes a drone management game at the end, where you're managing, it's that old airport game, where you're managing when they're coming in and all this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Except there's thousands of them. Thousands of drones coming all...
Oh, and I kind of like the idea that, and maybe it's even the reason that you can't just start putting stuff in the sack December 26th for the next year, because you don't know who's been good... Yeah. And who's been bad. And what they want.
or what's going to be out next year. Like, there could be a massive technological breakthrough
in November. Start of November.
At the start of November, and that's when all the kids go, I want a PlayStation 7, because that's right, they skipped 6.
It sounds like something Sony would do. Yeah, exactly.
No, that sounds like something fucking Microsoft would do, because they can't get
Microsoft already have.
Oh my god. Anyway.
So yeah, I think that's really cool. I like the idea that you can't start putting stuff in the sack until like December 1st or something. That's like the cutoff date. Kids don't realize this, but you can be as naughty as you fucking like between December and 1st and 25th, because it's locked in at that point, because Santa's got to have some lead time to get it all made.
And in fact, it really lasts until December 31st, because the days between
Christmas
and New Year, they're Santa's only days off, and he doesn't give a fuck what happens. Like,
he turns off all his screens. The elves get to have a rest as well, a holiday,
and it's just literally it's a party from the day he gets back, from that morning when he gets back, and he just drinks until midnight on January on December 31st.
Yeah,
and then he goes to sleep for 8 hours and wakes up the next morning and he's
fully refreshed, Santa magic,
and gets back into it. Starts
whipping those elves. Because I think that's a factor, right? The elf morale, you do have to pay them a living wage of some sort.
Yep.
Or you don't, whips. And you deal, that's part of the... That's part of the... you pay them in chocolate coins too. Yeah, no, I think that's really fun. I think that could be really cool. And just, all of these whimsical... I think you could really play with that whimsy from an automation game as well, where you can build like loop-the-loop and corkscrew conveyor belts and stuff, right?
Yeah.
It's just, and maybe it gives you a bonus if the crazier it is, they go faster or something, because that's just the way Santa magic works, and you want it to look as convoluted as possible. But because that just adds joy. That adds the joy into the sack, and that helps power. That's right. It's the Christmas magic.
It's actually the whimsy that helps power the sack's magic. If there's not enough whimsy, it can't fit the more presents from last year. So it's
it directly powers the pocket dimension.
Yeah,
within Santa's
and of
sack,
course, it's as the population is always growing, you need more magic this time and more whimsy. So
yep.
What worked last time isn't going to work again this time, because there's more room.
That's why you need those elves to be happy too.
Yeah,
because you can not pay them very well, work them hard,
offsets whimsy,
and just yell at them, more whimsy, damn it, more whimsy, or I'm killing Rudolph. Doesn't work.
More whimsy, damn it, is the name of the episode.
Well, with that's our obligation complete. We needed to come up with the name, and we can finish the episode. Yeah. So thank you for joining us. If you'd like to find all of our previous episodes online, go to podchaser.com/bitstorm. All of our episodes are there. Give them a listen and a review.
To check out the song that we play at the start and end of each episode, go to kuridos.bandcamp.com and download the song Mount Defiance off of the album Containment Failure. It's a full song. It goes for like 9 minutes or so, and it's really cool.
That's right. So thank you again for joining us this week on Bitstorm. I'm Ben Slinger.
I'm Trevor Scott. More whimsy, damn it.